Hi everyone, and welcome to another edition of our Deskercise series. So for those of you who haven't joined us before, this series is really an informative workout and exercise plan that's going to help improve your well-being every day. It's about giving you little quick tips and hints of how to include 2, 3, 4, 5 minutes of movement, activity, flexibility within your daily kind of beans and activities that is going to make your life better. I promise you, it sounds dramatic, but it will do. So if we think all of us suffer from back pain, knee pain, ankle pain at some point through our lives, usually in and around work or being at home with the kids, doing something that's really quite mundane, not massively active, and we stand up and we get an ache of pain or we pull something. So that shows us that really our body's not operating the right way. And what our Deskercise series is trying to do is show you little helpful tips how you, without spending loads of time in the gym or getting hot and sweaty, can make really positive changes to your daily plan. Today we're going to use a foam roll or implement for something that's called self-myofascial release. Don't worry about the technical term of it. Basically, the way we can draw it down is that this foam roll, very inexpensive to get, very small but really handy, amazing piece of kit. It's a great way of helping the muscles release stress. If any of you have had a sports massage or seen a sports therapist or a physio, you'll have been through treatments that basically use the same theories as this foam roll can do, but you can treat yourself at home. Today, I'm going to show you ways in which we can free up in and around the hips, the pelvis, the lower spine. Now that's going to help us to relieve back pain, also going to help correct our posture, but also releasing these tissues mean that they work better, they operate better. If a muscle operates better, when you go into your exercise and you join us at Switch to do one of our HIIT sessions, our Switch IT session, our 4 minutes of fitness, our total body transformation, if you've been using your foam roll outside of that, you in that session operate better. You have a greater range of movement, which means you burn calories more, your hormones balance much better because you're getting more aggressive and more challenging through your exercise, and we burn more fat because you're getting more out of your exercise. So it's important that we use something like this for those techniques. Right, what we're going to do is try and work with muscles that are very hard to stretch. We know that stretching and flexibility is so important, but sometimes there's muscles on our body that we just can't stretch. One in particular is our iliotibial band. So that's essentially a tendon. It's a small muscle that has a long tendon band that works on the outside of the thigh. Now that muscle has lots of adhesions or knots or trigger points within it that we need to work out for it to operate correctly. So for those of you who've got a foam roll, come and join me onto the floor. What we're going to do is place our foam roll onto the floor, and then we're going to think of where the top of our femur is, our hip, our thigh bone, and it's right on the top of that, at the side of that hip. Now what we're going to do is place the foam roll below that, and what we're going to do is focus on, think of that position between our hip and our knee. We're going to roll it down there. So let's get in position first. Let's take the bottom leg completely straight, lower down to our forearm, roll over so our hips are nice and even and nice and straight. We're not looking back, they're not reaching to the sky, they're over one another. Top leg can come over the top to begin with. And then what we're going to do is lower down to our forearm, but put all our weight through that forearm. That will allow us to lift the floating leg, so the leg that we're kind of kneading, the leg that we're massaging, we can work that out. So remember, as I keep my hips forward, now what we're going to do is just roll very small. Now we say roll at about maybe ½ inch, centimetre a second, very, very, very slow. Now as you begin to roll, what we're looking for is pain, essentially. When you feel pain, I want you to stop on it, and then we'll kind of assess it from there. So let's roll. Now I can feel discomfort already from there, so you should be at home as well. So as we hold on to that, we feel there's a change of something. Now for some of us, it may be very excruciating, very painful, almost pins and needles-y. For some of us, we may not feel it too much, in which case you continue to roll. Now when we find that moment of pain, what we're going to do is breathe, stay in it. And that is essentially something within the muscle that we've got to break down. We've got to try and release that tension. much the same as massage does for many people. So we're going to stay there, we're going to breathe, relax for about 20 to 30 seconds. And then what begins to happen is that part of the body sends a message to the brain where it says, I've got to release this, let that tissue go. And we begin to release the tissue. That means it can lengthen, it can return to its right shape, becomes less stressful, which impacts on us. Let's roll it on again. For many of us, that will become a little bit more tender. And if it does, that's fine, breathe. If it feels very excruciating, then come out of it. If we can't feel it enough, we can always take 2 legs on top, adds a bit more weight, we sink deeper into the tissue. It can cause a little bit more kind of movement to it, sorry, not movement to it, a little bit more pressure to it, which means we dig deeper in. Some of us have really deep adhesions that we need to work into. And then again, we'll move on. Now, what we're looking for is for that pain to subside, not completely go, but subside, so it should ease a little bit. We're going to stay there for about 20 seconds, so anywhere between 20 and 30 seconds, like we would a static progressive stretch. So we breathe, we relax. After 20 to 30 seconds, if it's not got any easier, and it's not relented a little bit and released, stay there or come out of it and go back into it. If it has released, move on to the next one. And then what will happen is we kind of work our way all the way down the muscle tissue, kind of permeating and breaking and working this muscle down and breaking up those adhesions and knots as we travel along. As you come out of it, you'll have an instant sensation, and as you stand up, you'll instantly feel that kind of release of pressure. It almost feels like blood's beginning to flow through the muscle again, and it is essentially because you're beginning to release that pressure. Now that has a knock-on effect, because one, the muscle's released and it doesn't hold tension, it doesn't hold pain, it's able to operate better. So remember, when you exercise later, it's going to work better. Right, let's go into another muscle, our piriformis. I'm going to show you how to foam roll that. Right, now this time we're going to take our foam roll across the side of our bum, so right on a funny angle across our bum. We're going to take one leg on top, and then what we're going to do is, while our piriformis is in a stretched position, similar thing, we're going to roll. Let me just readjust where I am. We're going to kind of roll into that muscle. When we feel pain, we stop there. Now, another really good technique when we're using our piriformis is using a dog ball or a massage ball. We can place it underneath the hip and we can essentially roll that round. It puts a bit of pressure into the tissue. And what it does, again, remember that pressure is needed because, like massage, we find those trigger points, we find those adhesions, we put pressure on them, and then we get the body to deal with that. We get the body to release it and let go of that pressure. Again, if we don't feel it, we can move on, find another point at which we feel that tension. And then we can again switch to the other side. Right, that's the 2 muscle groups that we kind of want to focus on today. So we're going to go a little bit to release piriformis, a little bit to release our iliotibial band. And now there's another muscle that we're going to work in called our tensor fascia lata. So that's another muscle that kind of locks up our pelvis, causes lots of problems and lots of dysfunction in and around the hips, which lead on to the bum not working and toning and the abs not working and toning. So let's go back to the position of our iliotibial band, so our first one. And then this time what we're going to do is, we're going to take the fleshy part in and around the front of our hips, so here on the top of our thigh. We're going to roll forward, and again, as we roll, let's try and find that little bit of tension. Once we feel that little bit of tension, we can stay there. Again, breathe. If it starts to release, then we can just move on that little bit more. A little bit of pressure onto it, a little bit more. And we're going to stay there. So we're going to stay now, so I can feel that adhesion and knot. You find yours at home, and then let's just breathe together. Let's give it 20 seconds, concentrating on breath and calmness, and let it begin to release. The other thing that I want to touch on are foam rolls. Very inexpensive. Lots of high street shops have them now. Lots of supermarkets have them. Or you can go online. If you put in foam roller or massage foam roller, you'll be able to find these online as well. Very cheap, very inexpensive. They take up hardly any room at home, but they're so important to, one, relieving all sorts of aches and pains within the body, and also as kind of a precursor, a foundation to getting more out your exercise. Remember, if we help you get more out your exercise, you tone faster, you burn more fat, you get more from it, and you work that bit harder. Okay, let's release it off. Let's switch sides. Let's go all the way to the other side. Let's do the same thing. Now, for some of you, you're going to be going through quite a lot of excruciating pain during this. That shows you kind of how tender and how much your muscles need to be worked in. Now, we have got a foam roll series here at Switch as well. So if you're unsure of kind of the really specific details of different parts, and we've done them where we can foam roll every single muscle in the body. It's an all-over body massage. That's what you look at it as. It's a sports massage that you can do throughout the week as often as you possibly can or want. You're going to get the same benefits and effects that a sports massage does without any of the cost. Put some of the videos on of myself. I'll walk you through them all. It's such an important part to making your well-being enhance and increase itself. Right, let's roll it. So again, I can feel that pressure. Remember, my hips tilted forward. If you don't feel it enough, remember, place that leg on top. You'll sure feel it then. So we breathe. Mine's beginning to release, so I can feel that release. I foam roll most days, particularly after some of my yoga sessions when my body's already stretched and warm and it's kind of ready and it's most malleable then. I do lots of foam rolling as well, and that definitely helps. Okay, so relax, breathe. Let that little bit of tension sit through the body. Remember, if it's excruciating and it feels very uncomfortable, come out of it. Your body's just not ready to release it yet. Try and come off, put a little bit less pressure on it, a little bit less weight. That may even be in placing the foot onto the ground, so there's a little less body weight. Okay, if we can, let's move on to another one. Again, sink into it, that little bit of pressure through the outside of the leg. So we breathe, we relax, and we just feel it sinking. And again, if it begins to release and we feel comfortable, we can roll on, find another trigger point. Each of these kind of little trigger points that kind of permeate up and down the muscle group, we need to find them, press into them, work into them, let them release. Okay, let's go to our piriformis that we did. So piriformis, remember we can sit our piriformis, and again what we're going to do is tilt our hips to that side and then just kind of roll us back. So we're trying to open and sit on the outside of the bum. So what should I do with my knee? It's crossed, the piriformis is stretched. I'm going to tilt it down and then kind of find that adhesion, that knot. So there. So I've just caught it there. And then I'm just going to sink into it. I'm going to breathe and relax. And again, as I said, I foam roll throughout the week because I know that it gets my muscles in the right working order. Like I say, it's like that little treatment, that sports massage to it, which means I get more out of all my sessions. I'm also at much less chance and risk of injury as well, which is really important because essentially if you keep getting injured, it's going to keep stopping you exercising, stopping you moving. And whatever your goals are with us here at Switch, our main goal is to get you happy, healthy and moving. That's my main aim and that's my section, getting you moving. If you're constantly getting injured, pick up kind of niggles and aches and pains here and there, it's going to put you off moving. It's going to inhibit your progress. And that, for me, is going to inhibit what I'm trying to achieve with you. So that's not what we want. Let's end with our TFL, so our tension fascial letter. So let's go back in position with our iliotibial band, the one on the outside, and then we just kind of roll it forward. Find that little bit of a pocket muscle that we call it. And once we find that, and we move into the top of the quads a little bit, then we just stay there, we hang out, relax. Stay there, a little bit of pressure into it. I can feel again that adhesion, that part of the tissue that's sore and it needs to work out. And a good indicator of whether a muscle kind of needs looking at and repairing and kind of nourishing a little bit is pain. You know, essentially we shouldn't really feel pain in muscles. There shouldn't be any adhesions locked within them. There's gonna be, there always is gonna be, because we're moving every day, we're challenging ourselves every day in the stressful lives that we live in. But just moving itself is gonna cause muscles to tense. We never take care of flexibility, or very few of us. So there's always gonna be pain there. So look for that pain, try and repair it. That pain's a good indicator that something else, somewhere along the line, it's gonna get much worse. Brilliant. So that's our foam roll. As I say, these informative little kind of sections that we've designed here at Switch are trying to give you some ideas of how in which you can affect your everyday well-being by just small adjustments. It's 3 or 4 minutes in your day, which you can do without getting changed, without getting hot, without getting sweaty, without ever going to the gym. But these are going to make massive positive effects on you. It's going to reduce your risk of injury. It's going to lengthen the tissue to the right length so your posture corrects. Remember, your posture directly links to your emotion, your stress levels. So those with a good posture, whose muscles aren't stressed and tensing and tired, are more confident, more productive and more motivated. And they also give that aura out around them. They help upbuild those around them and also help them have the confidence in their abilities, which is so important for those of you at work. So why not go and grab yourself a foam roll, and also maybe go over to our foam roll section where I've gone through lots of different muscle groups within the body, really worked through each of them individually and shown and highlighted, maybe for you at home, ways in which you can improve your well-being by using a very simple piece of kit. I hope I'll see you next time. Thank you for joining me, everyone, and we'll see you on another Deskercise. Take care.